In this video, we're going to do a readout of the page called Syringomas Don't Discriminate from our website. If you have syringomas, do not think you are alone. Syringoma is a color-blind benign skin condition, which means syringomas can affect any type of skin, Caucasians, Asians, Indians, Black, etc. Therefore, syringomas do not discriminate about race. On the other hand, it does not discriminate about age either, because people normally develop syringomas during their puberty or mainly after puberty, and syringomas will be there to stay unless they've been removed. That's not particularly true. Now, we found throughout this experience, this has been written, I think, in 2015. What we found is that syringoma happen after puberty or during puberty or just immediately after puberty. If not, then they can happen all throughout your life. Sometimes they happen after you're in your 30s and 40s. Then they can actually, normally, if they're not treated, they will not stay there forever. After maybe a decade, they can actually disappear on their own accord. So it's not as if you're 40, you start to have them, and by the time you're 60, you still have them. Very likely, even if you don't treat them, they're going to go away on their own accord. In the picture below, a Caucasian with the typical cluster periorbital syringomas on the right lower eyelid. These lesions are easily removed within one session with lasers or electrofulguration. Now, in this picture, it is, yes, I apologize. In this picture, it is possible to appreciate how the syringoma can spread in the whole periorbital region. These are lesions that can be difficult to disguise with makeup because they are raised. As we can see, when the periorbital syringomas are quite shallow, and it can be difficult to be concealed with makeup, periorbital syringomas on Asian skin type. And this is all for this page. It's quite a short page. So thank you very much for watching this very brief video, and should you have more questions, either go on our website or get in contact with us. Thank you for watching. In this video, we're going to perform a readout of the web page called How Does It Work? And it's actually referring to the syrin remover. So how does it work? The syrin remover is not a miracle cure. It just works. But how does it work? The syrin remover works by chemically ablating the syringomas from the top. Or in other words, the syrin remover destroys the syringoma by peeling. It does not cure your syringomas. This is very important because there's no cure that are known to syringoma. All you can do is actually burn them off. That's what we're doing with the syrin remover, and just burning them off. We are burning them off by using a high concentration of glycolic acid with vitamin A. That's what we're doing. So it's a chemical ablation. And then normally, in order to remove them, you've got to ablate them, is to say burn them anyway, and you can do them in many different ways. And as we've seen in this website, one is electrofulguration or electrical arcing, another one is using lasers. There's other ways to actually burn them, and one of them, which is effective, is also the use of chemical ablation, which is normally TCA, but in the syrin remover, because TCA is a bit out of control. It's not easy to control, and it's got some side effects which glycolic acid doesn't. So we use glycolic acid in our syrin remover. As you apply the syrin remover on your syringoma, you may feel a slight burning sensation. This is normal. This burning sensation will only last 5 minutes with this site. Will only last, what I mean is, will only last 5 minutes. With this site, it doesn't really, this is strong. 2 days after the application, scabs may form and it may fall off by itself. At that point, so basically what I mean here is if you apply on one syringoma, then a few days after the scab will form and it should fall off on its own accord, so do not scratch it. At this point, the itchiness, the thickness of your syringoma should be decreased visibly. Repeat the application on the same syringoma at intervals suggested in the instructions, which are published on our website, by the way, on this website, syringomaremoval.com. And after a few sessions or a few applications, you will get rid of your syringomas completely. And this is the good thing about the syringe remover, is that you've got a lot of it, normally 30 milliliters of product, which is a lot in order to remove them. And so you can use as many times as you want. So every time your syringoma scab off, it will reduce in size and so on up until you get the desired result. So you don't need to do it all at once, basically. So you will be able to notice the improvement almost immediately. Some clients require more and others require fewer treatments depending on the thickness of their syringomas. One advantage of using the syringe remover is that you can decide when you are satisfied with the results. If you think that you still want to keep removing a tiny syringoma residue, you can still do so. You are in control of your treatment and you can continue until complete removal. And this is one of the main advantages of doing the syringoma removal at home. That is to say, you can repeat the treatment as many times as you want. Because you've got plenty of product there, so nobody really you're not in a hurry to do it, and therefore you are going to remove your syringoma. This is why, although we sold so many of these products, that return rate is extremely low because it does work and people are pleased. So every time you apply it, you get a reduction in size of your syringoma, and you repeat the process up until you get the result you want. Whereas if you go to a cosmetic clinic, because you're paying an arm and a leg for it, you can only go once and then you have to pay another arm and leg. So you're actually getting rid of a few arms and legs every time you go. So it's a very different process. With this, you can do it from the comfort of your home, and you can do it as many times as you want, and the product is relatively inexpensive and is very effective. The new glycolic-based syringe remover, how does it work and what is the difference between the syringe remover and TCA? The new syringe remover that removes any type of syringoma can be used on any skin type. The reason is because actually we're using glycolic acid instead of TCA. That's the main reason. And TCA has got a few problems with skin types 4, 5, and 6. After using TCA-based syringe remover on a number of customers, we realized that we needed to find an active ingredient that would not be as difficult to control as the TCA-based syringe remover. The problem, and now another side note, is that TCA is not allowed in a number of countries because of the side effects of TCA. And why is it not allowed? It's because basically you can actually achieve the same results by using glycolic acid or other acids that have got less complications than TCA and less contraindications than TCA. So why would you be wanting to use TCA? So from a legislation point of view, TCA is restricted in a number of countries, whereas glycolic acid is completely unrestricted even in the European cosmetic portal. So there's no concentrations that you've got to abide by. Actually, everything is perfectly legal. So there's no problem from a legal point of view. And basically, there's no problem from a legal point of view because glycolic acid is fundamentally far safer than TCA, because glycolic acid is much more easily controlled. It's more easy to control. You can actually wipe it off and rinse it, and then you stop its effects of glycolic acid. Whereas TCA is not the same beast. TCA once again gets in touch with your skin and needs a neutralizer in order to stop its effects at once. So it's a very different beast, TCA. TCA-based serum remover. The problem was that the serum remover was the first product of its kind for home use. The drawback of TCA, despite the proven efficacy in removing syringomas, are when it is applied on the eyelids, it causes severe swelling on the upper eyelids and lower eyelids. Although the swelling subsides in all cases, this is what is in most people. It presents, and this is true, I mean, when we first started selling a TCA-based syringe remover, oh my God, we got people get in touch with us through an email, said, please contact me immediately, I can't open my eyes. It's just TCA is unforgiving, and unforgiving in the terms of the depth of ablation. It just goes deep, and this is why it's so effective. But one of the side effects, if you put it on your upper eyelids, is just huge swelling, to the point that you can hardly open your eyelids. But this is only temporary. But the main problem that is associated with TCA is hypopigmentation of skin types 4, 5, and 6, the darker skin types. So let's carry on. Whereas glycolic acid is not as unforgiving. I mean, you can still get some swelling, but it's not as bad. It prevents a risk of permanent hypopigmentation in all skin types. TCA is usually not recommended on dark skin tones due to the risks of having a permanent discoloration on dark skin into a white patch after the use of trichloroacetic acid. So what we mean here is that what happens is, the main problem with TCA is that you can get hypopigmentation, which is basically a whiter patch. Say if you put on a certain patch and your skin type 4, 5, or 6, then that patch, after healing and after everything is over, it may remain a bit lighter than the rest of the skin. And unfortunately, in most cases, this is permanent. So there's nothing you can do about it. Well, there's something you can do about it, but we're talking about micropigmentation, this sort of things, tattooing, and so on. This is difficult to stop. It is difficult to stop its ablating effects unless an appropriate neutralizer is applied. We're talking about TCA. It is difficult to stop the TCA ablation effects unless an appropriate neutralizer is applied, and this is true. Whereas with glycolic acids, it's not the case. You just wipe it off and rinse it with water and off you go. The risks associated with these TCA are a lot higher than other active ingredients if it gets in contact with the eyes, and it can be quite dangerous. Oh, indeed. I mean, TCA, once again, as I explained just earlier, is not a controlled substance, but is not completely. You cannot use TCA in all cosmetic products as freely as you can with glycolic acid, because glycolic acid is actually does the same thing, but does not have the same side effects as TCA. The risks associated with TCA are a lot higher than other active ingredients, as we said. The product is not very stable in a thick gel-based formulation. What this means is that after a few months, the TCA gel turns into a liquid, because basically the syringe remover is made into a gel format and a gel composition. And TCA destabilizes the gel very easily, and then only after 1 or 2 months it becomes completely liquid. After conducting our research, we found a study made in Japan stating that the Japanese researchers have successfully removed syringoma and symphalasma using glycolic acid in high percentage, namely 90% concentration solutions. We knew that glycolic acid was easier to use than and milder than TCA without most of the side effects and risks of TCA. The advantages of a glycolic acid are: does not need a neutralizer as TCA does. Glycolic acid gel does not cause the severe swelling caused by TCA 1 or 2 days after its application. There has not been reports of hypopigmentation on darker skin types, and that's very true. The effects of the glycolic acid-based gel can be stopped without a neutralizer by simply wiping it off and rinsing the area with water. The depth of penetration of the gel into the skin can be regulated by changing the timing of the application. The longer you keep the gel on, the deeper the effects on the syringoma and the skin. It is not as dangerous to the eyes as TCA if it is in contact with the eyeballs, your actual eyes. Vitamin A in the new glycolic-based syrin remover. There's a misspelling there at the moment. On top of the great results of glycolic acid-based syrin remover, we wanted to make the product even more effective in removing your syringoma. We wanted to make it in such a way that it is effective in removing any type of syringoma, and at the same time make our system very efficient in order to pass the cost cuts to you, our customers. The problem is with TCA, it's not as if you can actually use it on all skin types, so you've got to do a bit of customization. Whereas glycolic acid, you can do it on all skin types, so it's much cheaper to have a one off-the-shelf product than many different ones. The new syringoma, the new syrin remover with vitamin A is a standard product that works on all skin types of on all types of syringoma and skin types. So how does vitamin A help us achieve this? Vitamin A in skin products has cellular stimulation property that makes it a potent exfoliant. The glycolic acid has the double function of dissolving your syringoma and at the same time opening the syringoma tissue to vitamin A. Once the vitamin A gets in contact with the base of your syringoma, then the cellular stimulation takes place. As the cellular stimulation takes place, the syringoma gets detached from its base and it is removed, leaving in its place a hole which is going to heal by second intention. One of the several advantages of using the syrin remover is that you can decide when you are satisfied with the results, which is extremely good. So basically use it as many times as you need in order to remove them, because you've got a lot of it. If you think that you'll still want to keep removing your tiny syringoma residue, you can still do so, and you're in control of your own treatment and can continue the treatment until complete removal, because as we said, you apply it, your syringoma becomes smaller, and then if you want to apply again, it becomes smaller and smaller up until you get rid of them. So it's as easy as it comes. Whereas if you go to a clinic, basically you get the treatment done. Very likely they don't do it correctly, and you still have syringoma maybe slightly smaller than they were before, maybe. And then you have to pay them again because they're going to try to find excuses to charge you more. So this is one of the reasons why this is an extremely good product in order to remove your syringoma. So if you're considering cosmetic clinics, try the syrin remover. It's much more effective. It's very easy to use, and it's much more effective than most cosmetic clinics in removing syringoma, and you'll be very pleased with it. So thank you very much for watching, and if you'd like to know more, we've got a lot of information on syringomaremoval.com, and you can always get in touch with us. Yes, I'm coming. Jack, I'm doing the readout of these web pages now, and there's some mistakes. So I think you've got to especially once the videos have been edited, you can actually maybe you can spot the mistakes much more easily. All right, so there's still some mistakes on syringomaremote.com. They're not that bad, but there's still some. In this video, we're going to do a readout of the web page called How to Apply the Syrin Remover. The syrin remover is applied using a small makeup brush or cotton earbud directly onto the syringomas, taking particular care not to have the syrin remover in contact with your eyes. So look at me, oh my God. In this video, we're going to do a readout of the page called How to Apply the Syrin Remover. The syrin remover is applied using a small makeup brush or cotton earbud directly onto your syringoma, taking particular care not to get it in contact with your eyes. There are two main ingredients. One is glycolic acid and the second is vitamin A. Apply a blob on every syringoma. It is important to apply a small blob to leave it on the syringoma for a period of time. It is always advisable to have someone else to apply the syrin remover for you. Notwithstanding the safety of using the syrin remover, we always advise our customers to be overcautious and apply the syrin remover, as little syrin remover as possible at the first time it is used. Basically, if you actually read the instructions, we say clearly in the instructions to perform patch tests, which is actually on this website, syringomaremote.com. We have published the instructions. So do a patch test first in order to understand how the product works, and then you actually use it as intended. After all, this will allow you to get used to the way the syrin remover works exactly, but this is what we mean actually there, just before there, what we mean is that you've got to do patch tests, and then if you want to know how to do them, you don't even have to buy the product. You find the instructions on our website, syringomaremote.com, so you'll still be able to read the instructions on how to do the patch tests. And the patch tests are designed for you to understand how the product works on your skin. So after all, this will allow you for you to get used to the way the syrin remover works. It is also recommended to avoid applying the syrin remover onto your healthy skin. The syrin remover should only be applied to the syringomas. In case the syrin remover is accidentally applied onto your normal skin, just wipe it off. This will stop the peeling effects. Basically, you shouldn't be as worried about that, because many people have applied it without petroleum jelly. What we mean is just apply petroleum jelly. If you watch this video, we're actually telling you how to apply the syrin remover with petroleum jelly, and it didn't actually cause any problems whatsoever. Since the syrin remover is developed for home use, there is no need to rush in the cosmetic treatment. because the syrin remover can be applied as many times as needed until you are satisfied with the results. During the cosmetic treatment with the syrin remover, it is strongly recommended to avoid sun exposure. If sun exposure cannot be avoided due to the work commitments when outside, walk in the shade and wear very dark sunglasses. Now, the point is that you've got to avoid sun exposure like as if you were a vampire. Because one of the side effects of using glycolic acid and other cosmetic peels is that you may develop hyperpigmentation during the regeneration process of your skin. And that applies to any skin, any skin types, especially skin types 3 and 4. So be very cautious and try to avoid sun exposure, at least for 2 to 3 months after the last application of the syrin remover on your skin. No other creams should be applied on to the area around the eyes throughout the duration of the treatment. This is because basically the scabbing effect, that could cause some problems in the scabbing. It's not as if some creams can actually cause infections, but the scabbing will be delayed, the healing progression will be delayed, and that could cause problems. So when you use this product, do not use any other products up until the scabs are formed and fallen off on their own accord. Once you are satisfied with the results and the treatment is finished, makeup can be worn 2 weeks after the last syrin remover application. Also, the other thing is, once the scabs are fallen off, always apply sunscreen, total sunscreen. Better if it's physical sunscreen other than chemical. We can use either. Also, for the period of 2 to 3 months after a syringoma removal treatment, total sunscreen must be applied to the area around the eyes before going in the sun. We advise our customers not to sunbathe for a minimum period of 3 months after the last use of the syrin remover. Additionally, throughout the treatment with the syrin remover, strictly no makeup should be worn. Although very unlikely, wearing makeup could cause unnecessary complications that can be easily avoided. Also, avoiding wearing makeup speeds up the natural skin recovery process. Makeup can be regularly worn 2 weeks after the last treatment, the last application. Because basically, if you apply makeup during the scabbing process, basically the scabbing and the healing will be delayed, and you can get some problems. On average, 2 applications are more than enough to achieve complete removal, but that really depends on how you apply the syrin remover, because the longer you apply the syrin remover, the deeper the ablation effects. So the longer you apply it for, the lesser the applications you required. So it really depends on how you apply the product. However, since you have a lot of syrin remover with you, you can repeat the treatment. After all, we supply 30 ml with your order, which will last for a whole year. If you're not sure, you can always ask us. We are here to help you. Our recommendation: depending on the syringoma, type of formulation and skin type, we instruct the customer to keep the blob for a length of time varying from 30 minutes to a complete absorption, 1 hour. Now, this is something that's been written at the very, very beginning when the syrin remover was still custom made, but it's not now. So basically, you've got a set of instructions which are published on this website, but this is actually not applying any longer. The longer the gel is kept on the lesion, the stronger the peeling effects, which is still true. Please note that TCA solutions bought from other sources do require the use of neutralizers after a certain length of time after the application, during the application. It is also very important not to stand upright when applying the blob. This is because gravity could have the blob to slip down to places where it shouldn't go. Therefore, we recommend to lie down at all times while we have the syrin remover blob on. In some cases, depending on where the syringomas are located, lying down may not be the best option. Remember, as a general rule, that gravity has to point towards the syringoma so that the blob will be naturally kept in place and not to slip elsewhere. So what I mean is that basically you've got to lie down. It's best for you to lie down so that if you apply a thick blob, it's not going to slip elsewhere. Because as you apply it on your syringoma, the blob, your skin is a bit warm, so the gel becomes even thinner, so to speak, so it may actually cause some drips. We highly recommend having someone else to apply the syringe remover blob for you. If you have syringoma on the upper eyelids, it is very important to keep your eyes shut over the length of the entire application. This is because if you accidentally open your eyelids, the blob could spread over areas where it should not go. Though basically this applies if your syringoma is on your upper eyelids. So if you open them, it actually spread everywhere else. But that doesn't really matter. It's not that big deal. It's not a big deal because it's still a glycolic acid gel. Once again, it is important that you are not alone while you have the blob on, because the other person can supervise the cosmetic treatment and monitor whether the blob is still where it should be on the syringoma. The other person will therefore help you by monitoring the gel and keep a clean cotton cloth at hand and make sure that the gel does not slip anywhere else. In case the gel escapes, the other person can wipe it off immediately. Also, given that most likely you need to keep your eyes shut during the peeling application with the syringe remover, the other person can help you in case you need anything like bringing you water or whatever else you may need. However, the other person can reduce the length of the cosmetic peel application and wipe the gel off at the right time as stated in the instructions. So before you use this product, read the instructions. They're all on our website, so you've got plenty of resources there. But if you're not sure, look at our contact page. You'll find our contacts in there. So many thanks for watching this video. Should you have more questions, you can actually go on our website first and then you can contact us if you don't find the answer. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, we're going to do a readout of the syringe remover ingredients webpage, which is kind of an interesting webpage anyway, because we actually haven't published the ingredients for a long time, but we've decided to publish them all. The new syringe remover can remove any type of syringoma, and that can be used in any skin type. And we have made the syringe remover as a standard product in order to drive the costs down. Initially, we used TCA in our syringe remover, but very soon we found that the main problem with that, there's a number of problems with that. The problem is the one or 2 days after the syringe remover was applied on the eyelids to remove the syringoma, severe swelling would develop. This was worrisome to most people, although the swelling would subside on its own within 5 days to a week at most. Moreover, TCA is relatively difficult to control as it is best used with an appropriate neutralizer. Immediately we noticed this problem and we started working towards solving this problem. We carried out some research. Unfortunately, we found a study published by a Japanese university. In that research paper, it was mentioned that 90% glycolic acid solution was used to successfully remove syringoma and xanthelasma with an extremely high success rate. So we asked one of our labs to make a glycolic acid based gel with a high percentage of glycolic acid in the region of 70 to 95%. And this is exactly what happened. As I say, we found that TCA was a bit worrisome to a number of people, and then extremely worrisome to us, because we were the first people actually really selling online something that was extremely useful in removing and effective, removing xanthelasma and syringoma. So we wanted to make sure that was safe. So as soon as we found the side effects with TCA within the concentration still allowable within the European Cosmetic Portal, then we started immediately looking for an alternative. We found this study in Japan, so we've applied it to syringoma as well, and we found that it's extremely effective. In the early stages of the glycolic acid based gel, we found it was an effective solution, but still the glycolic acid was not as effective as TCA, and this is true, so we had to add something more to that. So we needed another important ingredient to make this product better, and vitamin A is the ingredient which we are looking for, vitamin A or retinol. We did further research on vitamin A, and we found that vitamin A is allowed in cosmetic products within a certain percentage. So we are using nowadays vitamin A and glycolic acids in the serum remover. So basically, we are using two main ingredients. One is glycolic acid with high percentage in the region of 70 to 95%, and the second one is vitamin A with its highest allowable within its highest allowable concentration. The ingredients are water. This particular thing I can't really read. Isoparaffin, laureth, sodium hydroxide, polyethylene glycol, this particular thing, and vitamin A, which is retinol, and there's glycolic acid at the beginning, which is not mentioned there. Vitamin A in the new glycolic based serum remover. On top of the great results of the glycolic acid based serum remover, we wanted to make the product even more effective in removing your syringoma. We wanted to make it in such a way that it is effective in removing any type of syringoma, and at the same time make our system very efficient in order to pass the cost cuts to you, because basically our customers, the point is that we wanted to make something that is off the shelf so we can actually reduce the cost significantly, and we have done so, especially recently. The new serum remover with vitamin A is a standard product that works on all skin types and types of syringomas. So how does vitamin A help us achieve this? Vitamin A in skin products has cellular stimulation property that makes it a potent exfoliant. The glycolic acid has the double function of dissolving your syringoma and at the same time opening the syringoma tissue to vitamin A. Once vitamin A get in contact with the base of your syringoma, then the cellular stimulation takes place. As the cellular stimulation takes place, the syringoma gets detached from its base and it is removed, leaving on its place a hole which is going to heal by second intention. One of the several advantages of using the serum remover is that you can decide when you are satisfied with the results. If you think that you still want to keep removing your syringoma, residue, you can still do so. You are in control of your treatment and you can continue until the complete removal. So now the point is that here is what we've described there is an extreme situation where the gel is kept on your syringoma and left there to completely absorb. And this is when it's extremely effective, but this is not the way we suggest to use the serum remover. We suggest to use it for a few minutes and then wiping it off. I think from my memory it's 20 minutes. but you can read the instructions which are published on syringomaremote.com. Once again, should you have any questions, we've got loads of information on syringomaremote.com, and you can always get in touch with us. Thank you very much for watching.